Greetings and blessings to you, Startup Nation. This is Steven Sanders. I am here taking over for Dominic. Well, I didn't necessarily take over for him, but I kind of kicked him out the booth today. This is the Takeover edition of the Startup Life. Dominic has some big shoes to fill. I'm not trying to fill them, but I'm hoping to get in the shoe store with you. With that being said, welcome to the Startup Life. Let's get started.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You'll never have the sacred stone.
Oh, this you crazy mother.
Hey Startup Nation, do you enjoy the startup life? Now you can let the world know with gear from the show. Choose from the label yourself, make your own look, and making money t-shirts to tell your story of your path of entrepreneurship. Click the link in the show notes to purchase.
Okay, welcome to the Startup Life, powered by the Binge Podcast Network. I'm here today to talk to you guys about a few different concepts, right? I want to talk about, taking concepts from pre-concept to execution and what that means. So I'm going to pose a question to you guys. What is it that separates folks that talk about it to the folks that walk about it? I hope you guys receive great value in this podcast. Let's take flight. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about is just this concept, right, of what separates folks that talk about it to the folks that walk about it. All right, have you ever thought about what it is that separates the folks that talk about it from the folks that walk about it? That concept is a easy but difficult one to understand, but I want you to think about it from the concept of what is it that successful people do that non-successful people do. And when I talk about success, I'm not just meaning financially. I'm not just talking about in your career, but just success in general, around the goals that you set for yourself, whether that's personal, financial, career, family. What is the thing that is going to make you go from talking about it to actually walking about it? And okay, so I want to talk about this concept in the likeness of looking at it from a 5D perspective. Those 5Ds being desire, discipline, direction, drive, and dreams. And I have an honorary D that I'm going to mention at the end. But let's go ahead and get started and talk about the first D. So the first D is desire. So for me, what desire means is that the inevitable thing that's inside of you, that when your body says no, your mind says go. Now, I'm a former athlete. I used to play high school football and college football, and there were a lot of instances when I'm on the field, my body was ready to give up. My body was done. It's 5 o'clock. We've been out here for 3 hours, and we've been running in this heat, and coach not giving us no water, and we just out here struggling, and my body is ready to give up. But it was something in my mind that wouldn't let me stop. It was something inside of me that made me feel like, there was more to be done, and I liken this concept to, when everyone else is around you, is proud of you, and you're not satisfied. There's something still more that you can do, and for me, that's desire. And that's the piece that you have to find. Often, you hear a lot of people talk about it's the it factor. It's that factor that you can't necessarily pinpoint. You don't know exactly what it is, but it's something in that person that's different. It's something in them that separates them from everybody else. And that's that desire. That's that thing that that's not necessarily measurable. There's no metric around for you to be able to measure, what somebody's desire is. But ultimately, it is the separating factor. It is that thing that makes you different amongst everybody else. The second D that I want to talk about is discipline. So, when I think about discipline, a lot of times we liken it to our parents or our upbringing, and maybe in the schools, and when people would discipline us for actions that we shouldn't have done, or actions that we could have done better. But in this concept, I want to talk around, who's gonna wake up at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning? Who's gonna have the discipline to not hit snooze when that alarm is going off, and you need to get up because you need to get to the gym, or you need to start working on that paper, or you need to start working on that content? who's gonna have the discipline to miss that party when they know they need to work on content? Because it's not about just thinking it and feeling it, but it's about having the discipline to say, you know what, I'm actually gonna do this. I'm actually gonna say no to this party. I'm actually gonna say no to this to this fun activity, you know, and also having the discipline to say yes to an opportunity that doesn't have money attached to it. That's a hard concept for a lot of us to understand it, and I understand why. You know, a lot of times, you know, we want instant gratification. We want to be able to see the fruits of our labor immediately, and a lot of times it's financial. We want to say, hey, I'm not willing to do this without some kind of financial contribution to myself. But who has the discipline to say, you know what? There's not necessarily money tied to this, but there's an opportunity for me to grow. There is value in this. When you think about it, listening to this podcast right now, that takes discipline. Right now, you're investing in yourself. You're not going to get a check from this podcast. I'm not going to send anybody a check after listening to this podcast. Sorry, I hate to disappoint you, but there won't be a check waiting in the mail for you next week. But it's the discipline that you have right now to invest in yourself to say, you know what, I'm going to listen to this podcast. I'm going to take some time to listen to a concept that's new to me, that may be foreign to me, that may even be different from what I'm used to thinking about. But that's the discipline that you have. It's the concept of what do you do when you don't, right? What do you do when you don't? When you don't have the energy, right? When you feel like it's time for me to give up. I've been trying this for a long time. It's time for me to. Who has the discipline to keep going? Who's gonna put in those 10,000 hours? You know, they say it takes 10,000 hours to become an expert in whatever you're doing, right? Who has the discipline to put in those 10,000 hours? Who has that discipline? All of that is not just a concept, right? It's not just, you know, somebody telling you, hey, you did wrong, let me correct your behavior. No. It's not just that. It's having the discipline within yourself to say that I'm gonna keep going, to say that I'm gonna wake up. I'm gonna do the things that I know I need to do. That's where the discipline comes in. Now, the next D I want to talk about is direction. Do you have the end state in mind? When I talk to people, a lot of times, you know, they have these lofty goals and they have these ideas of what they want to do. But do they know what the end state looks like? And furthermore, can you look at that end state and then work backwards to get to the next step in your life, to get to the next step in your life, to get to the next step that's going to ultimately get you to that end state? And the concept around direction that I want to talk about today is actually, what do you do when you don't have the direction? When you don't have the direction, and Startup Nation, I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm in a place in my life right now where I don't have direction in what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing. Me being on this podcast right now, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I have no idea what I'm doing right now. This is no direction that I planned out. I don't have an end state in mind for this. So I want to talk about, what do you do when you don't have the direction? Because let's be honest, Startup Nation, we all get there, right? Whether you've been in a career for a long time and you wake up one day and you're like, you know what, I've been in finance for 15 years. Why do I want to go teach? You know, I want to be a teacher. How am I gonna get there? I don't have an educational background. I don't have a background in building and developing plans and lesson plans and working with the youth. I don't have any background in it. There's no direction for this. Why am I being pulled to do this? And I'm just gonna share with you all, Startup Nation, where I am in my process. And for me, when you don't have the direction, you got to keep moving forward. The worst thing I believe that you can do when you don't have a direction that you want to go in is to become stagnant and do absolutely nothing. Even when you don't have direction, you know, the thing I try to put into people is spend time being quiet. You know, if you're a religious person, you know, take time to pray. Get quiet and listen to the universe, listen to God, and do the things that you feel like you are being called to do. And it doesn't necessarily have to have a direction. And one thing I want to tell you right now, Startup Nation, is it's okay to not have a direction. It's okay to not know what that next step looks like. 'Cause guess what? Sometimes you got to jump out the window. You don't know if it's a safety net there or not, but you know you need to jump out the window. It's okay to get to that place in your life. The thing is, and in my opinion, and like I said, I'm on this journey right now myself. So we're gonna work through this together. So if you're right there, if you're in the same place that I am, hey, you got a friend in me. All right, you got a family member in me right now, Startup Nation, because I am there with you. But one thing that I'm sure of is that eventually the direction will become clear. The direction will become clear eventually, but it's only gonna become clear if you keep moving. You can't get to the point where, you know what, I don't know what I want to do, so I'm gonna sit at home and I'm gonna just watch my YouTube videos and I'm gonna just sit in my kitchen and I'm gonna just think on it and think on it and think on it. No. Slow feet don't eat. You got to get up and move. Keep moving. I don't care which way you're going, but keep moving. Do not stop. The direction will become clear. And again, spend time being quiet. Spend time praying. Spend time with the people that you care about the most and listen to them. Listen to them. The direction will become clear. Okay, and with that, we're going to take a quick break. Again, this is Steven Sanders taking over for Dominic Lawson. This is The Startup Life. We'll be back in a minute.
Hey business owner, the Startup Life reach is growing. Wouldn't you like your business to grow with it? Reach out to us to advertise on the Startup Life. You can reach us at 901-857-4818, or you can email me at dominic@askalsolutions.com. I mean, don't get me wrong, like this is a great music to have a break on, but wouldn't this break sound a lot better with the same music but your business being advertised on it? Need more content from the Startup Life, you say? You can now sign up for the Startup Life All Access Pass on the Binge Podcast Network's Patreon page. There is exclusive content written by yours truly, video content where I share even more of my business philosophies, and whatever crazy content I can think of out of that crazy head of mine. And at only $5 a month, yeah, $5 a month, this is more content for you, Startup Nation, to really get ahead of your competition. So instead of upsizing that meal at your favorite fast food joint, you can now invest in yourself on your path to entrepreneurship. Click the link in the show notes to sign up.
All right, welcome back to the Startup Life. Let's jump right back into it. So the next D I want to talk about is drive, right? And so I mentioned earlier that I'm a former athlete, and when I say former, I do mean former. This body is built by bread now. It's not built by the gym like it used to be. But I'm a former athlete, right? So I played high school and college football. And when I talk about drive, I'm really talking about that motor that just won't quit, right? So I was never the biggest person on the field. I was never the fastest. I was never the strongest. But what I had was a motor. The one thing coaches always said was, boy, you just don't stop. If I got knocked down 3 times, I'm getting up 10 times. I'm not getting up 4 times. I've always had that motor, that thing that just wouldn't let me quit. Believing, it's all about believing so strongly in what you're doing that you can't rest until it's done. For me, it's about, being uncomfortable when you're comfortable. Drive is all about when you're sitting around the house and you feel uncomfortable when you just sitting on the couch and there's work to be done. You know that there's more that needs to be accomplished. You gotta be relentless in your resolve to be okay with not being okay. It's not just about, I've gotten to this point and I'm fine where I am and there's nothing more to be accomplished. No, drive is about saying, listen, there is more to this. There's more to dig out of this. There's more that I can get out of this. Again, it's about being relentless in your resolve, and that doesn't mean that you go and you go and you go and you go and you go nonstop. Like you got to be smart about it, right? You got to know when it's time to take a breather. You'll get that second wind. You'll find that other what they call that second motor, when that second motor kick in, you'll find it and you'll know exactly how to react when you get to that point. The fifth D that I want to talk about is one that a lot of people probably would have put at the front end, because a lot of people who do speaking engagements and go around the country, selling all these hopes and all this. They talk about dreams, right? So for me, your dream isn't a dream if it doesn't make you uncomfortable. And that's the thing you're going to see with me a lot is Startup Nation. Life isn't about being comfortable, in my opinion, right? Life is about challenging yourself, pushing yourself. And for me, that's what a dream has to be. A dream has to be so big that other people doubt it. If everybody around you believes in your dream, it's not big enough. You need to have people around you that's like, nah, girl, I don't know about that. I don't know if you're going to do that now, girl. Or, no, brother, now, Reggie tried to do that. And no. Your dream needs to be that big that it makes other people uncomfortable. Otherwise, it's not big enough, in my opinion. Because dreams should be lofty. Dreams, for me, is about, not imagining the world that we're in, but imagining the world that could be. And that may include things that don't exist today, but that's okay. How can you, Startup Nation, get to the point where that dream becomes a reality? Again, it needs to be, a lot of people say, the sky's the limit. I say no, the sky's the beginning. There's so much above the sky that we don't know about. There's so much potential out there that we don't know about. And we limit ourselves because we try to come up with dreams that are too pragmatic, right? Dreams that make too much sense. And that's because, a lot of times it's because of our upbringing. It's because of, the schools that we may have been educated in, or the house we may have been raised in. We've been taught to, dream realistically, dream about things that you can get to. But, in my opinion, Startup Nation, you need to dream about things that you don't think you can get to. Because, an old saying is shoot for the moon, and if you miss, you're still amongst the stars, right? So even if you have a dream so big that it doesn't seem attainable, if you spend every single day of your life trying to reach out there, you're going to get somewhere. Here's the thing about big dreams, right? One or two things is going to happen with you chasing your dream, right? If you are dedicated, if you are relentless in your resolve, if you just won't take no for an answer, if you have a dream, regardless of how lofty it is, and you're chasing it, one or two things is going to happen. And I will bet my entire $2.76 savings account on this. If you chase your dream relentlessly, one or two things is going to happen. You either going to get it or you're going to die trying. That's what it is. There's a story out there of a man who was in a rock band back in the 80s. Some of you all may have seen this. There's a documentary, I believe it's on Netflix. But there's a documentary of this man that was in a rock band in the 80s, right? The rock band got kind of hot for a little bit. They did a few tours, but then they died off, right? But the lead singer of this rock band had a dream to be a rock star. So he never stopped. For years, even after the band had disbanded, he got to the point where he was working a 9 to 5. I believe he was working in the kitchen somewhere. But every night, he would go perform at a local bar or a local club. Trying to reach his dream. So much so that the local news, I believe this gentleman was in Canada. I believe it was in Toronto. So much so that the local Canadian news heard about this guy who was in the rock band in the 80s, but he's still doing shows. He's well into his 40s, well into his late 40s, early 50s, and he's still performing every night. So much so that after the local news had covered it, a couple folks started reaching out. And right now today, he is on a world tour after being recognized for continuing to follow his dream. Now, I'm sure there were people in his life that were telling him, man, give up on that, man. Why are you still trying to be a rock star? You're 50 years old. You need to hang that up. Your legs don't move like they used to. Your voice is a little shaky when you try to hit that high note. But he didn't stop. His dream was to be a rock star. And he decided within himself, listen, I'm either going to get there or I'm going to die trying. And fortunately for him, he got there. And here's the thing. He may be the exception and not the rule, right? Because everybody doesn't have that story. But I will say this. Even if you don't reach your dream, but you spend every single day chasing it, one thing you won't have in life is regret. The one thing you won't be able to say as you get older is, man, I wish I'd have chased that dream. Man, I wish I'd have just bet on myself. Man, I wish I just gave a little bit more trying to go after that dream. Even if you don't get it, you'll die trying. All right, Startup Nation, I mentioned earlier that I had an honorary D for you. So it's actually 6 Ds, but we're going to call this one honorary for the day. And I know when I first said that, y'all think, oh, he got an honorary D. He talking about that. No, I'm not talking about that, okay? Not talking about that honorary D, okay? We talking about another one. And that honorary D is a dream team, Startup Nation. You got to have your dream team. You have to have the right people around you. You have to have a village in order to truly be able to execute. I don't care how great you are. I don't care how well you orate. I don't care how well you write. I don't care how well you manage. I don't care how well you as an individual are. Without the dream team around you, Startup Nation, you are only as good as nothing. Do you hear me? There is so much value in having a dream team that I think sometimes we forget, right? Because a dream team is not just about having the people who believe in you and the people who push you. Sometimes that dream team is having the naysayers. You need a couple people telling you, nah, you can't do it. Because you know what? If you're truly dedicated to chasing your dream and executing and delivering on the things you say you want to deliver on and being the successful person that you said you want to be, you need some motivation. And I know for me, I love when people tell me what I can't do. I love when people tell me what I'm not able to do, because guess what? That's just more fuel to the fire, baby. That's just more ammo for me. You know, and this dream team, it needs to, in my opinion, it needs to consist of a few people, right? So for me, the dream team has to start with a mentor. And I'm not just talking about that mentor that's going to, you know, give you all the business acumen or give you all the industry knowledge and all of that. You need a spiritual mentor as well. You need somebody who can keep you grounded spiritually and remind you, listen, you're just a man, you're just a woman. There's something bigger than you. You need to humble yourself. You need to take yourself out of this equation and realize that the world don't revolve around you. You need a spiritual mentor. You need an emotional mentor. You need somebody who can tell you, listen, it's okay. It's going to be all right. You need that mentor who's going to challenge you, who's not going to accept what you think is your best. You need that mentor that sees more in you than you see in yourself. So you need a few different mentors. You need a coach. You need somebody who can literally tell you, hey, listen, you're doing this right now and you're getting this result. Listen, if you do this, you might get that. Why don't you try that out? You need a coach. You need an accountability partner. Listen, you need somebody, whether it's a peer, whether it's a sibling, whether that's a significant other. You need somebody that's going to hold you accountable for what you said you're going to do. Because sometimes, guess what? We all need it. We all need somebody to kick us in our rear end and tell us, listen, you're just not getting it. You can do more. You said it's February 99th, and you said you was going to be done by February 88th. Well, why you're not done yet, right? You need that accountability partner to hold you. You need the dreamer. You need the person that's 10,000 feet in the sky, you know, that sees nothing but sunshine, rainbows, and unicorns. You need that dreamer. Because guess what? That dreamer's, there's value in that dreamer. That dreamer's going to come up with an idea, and you're going to say, wait a minute, wait a minute. You might be on to something. And that was a look crazy, but I can see the sense in it. You need that dreamer on your dream team, but you also need that realist. You need that person to come and say, hey, listen, you said you want to make $100 million in 2019. Listen, that's a lofty goal, but, you know, maybe we should say maybe about 10,000. You know, maybe just looking at the industry and, you know, looking at trends and things of that nature, you know, 10,000 might be a little bit more realistic. You need that person on your dream team. And you got to have that nurturer, right? You got to have that person that's going to put alcohol on your boo-boo. That's gonna kiss you and tell you it's gonna be all right. You need that nurturer that's gonna coddle you when you need to be coddled. You need that person. Now you don't need that person every day now. Okay, Startup Nation, I need you to have some gumption about yourself. But sometimes, you know, we all get weak. You know, we're all humans, right? We all feel, we all have emotions, we all deal with life. So you need that nurturer. You need that whip snapper. You know, and that's different from that accountability partner, because that accountability partner just gonna tell you what you need to do. That whip snapper is coming with that whip. They gonna snap you and tell you, hey, listen, you tripping. Get back on your horse and let's get back on this thing. What are you doing? They're the ones that's gonna literally, physically push you Hey, get up. Wake up. It's time to, hey, listen, it's 6:55. You're supposed to be up at 6:30. Get up. You need that whippersnapper. Startup Nation, you need that dream team. You have to have that dream team in order to get from where you are to where you want to be. I don't care how much you think you add to the world. Without that dream team, that scope is going to be limited because there's only so much you can do by yourself. There's only so much you can do by yourself. Shout out to the brother Dame Dash. I love Dame Dash, but he has this concept that, if you're not a boss, you nothing. I did all this on my own, and I pray for the brother because I don't know why he thinks he did it all on his own, but he couldn't have. There's no way he's where he is today without a dream team, without somebody that gave him an opportunity. Somebody has to give you an opportunity. Right now, I took over Dominic's podcast. I kicked him out the booth for today. This is the Takeover. Steve Sanders is here. But I was only able to do that because he gave me an opportunity. He saw something in me that I didn't see in myself. Are you going to find that person that's going to do that for you? Better yet, are you going to be that person to somebody else? Because it's not about just finding a dream team for yourself. You need to be on somebody's dream team. Find out what it is the people around you need. And figure out, what resources do you have available? Are you good at strategizing? Are you good at coming up with the pie in the sky? Are you good with numbers? Are you good with marketing? What are you good at? Figure out what it is the people around you need and give to them. You should always be focused on giving more than you receive. And that's a concept that's thousands of years old, but it reigns true today. You need to be focused on giving more than you receive, because you know what, Startup Nation, when you give more than you receive, you'll always receive more than you give. So I want you to close your eyes for a minute, right? And I want you to put yourself somewhere. And I don't know what industry you're in. I don't know what you do, but I want you to picture yourself in an office or in a boardroom or on the sideline. And you're at that place that society has told you it's a successful place to be in. Put yourself in that position. Imagine yourself looking out of the window of your office or being, wherever it is that you thought you wanted to be in terms of success. Imagine yourself having everything that you thought you wanted. You got the money you wanted, right? You drive the car that you always wanted to drive. You got the house that you dreamed of. You've got the bank account. And imagine sitting there with all these things that you thought were going to make you successful. All those things that society told you was what you needed. But something's not there. Something's missing. Something is calling you and pulling you in another direction. And you can't understand it. You don't know what it is. There's something pulling you. There's all these signs and there's all these elements around you that are pulling you in another direction. What do you do? With that being said, Startup Nation, it has been an absolute pleasure to have you. Listen, I'm so happy to be a part of this nation now. I hope you consider me a brother, a friend, a confidant, and I hope to talk to you all soon. And Startup Nation, if you ever want to get in touch with me, you ever want to follow me, you can find me on Facebook at Stephen F. Sanders. If we ever become real friends, I'll tell you what that F stands for. Or you can find me on LinkedIn as well at Stephen Sanders. Again, it's been an absolute pleasure being with you all today. I hope you found some value in what we talked about this afternoon, because at the end of the day, if you didn't find value in what we talked about this afternoon, then I failed you. And if I failed you, let me know. Let me know in the comments so I can improve, okay, Startup Nation? You are now part of my dream team, okay? I need you to help me help you help me, okay? Thank you, Startup Nation.
If you want to let us know what you think about the show, have an idea for a show topic, or like to advertise on our show, please send us a message on the Startup Life Podcast Facebook page. And while you are there, like and follow our page as well. It's a way for us to engage with you, Startup Nation, and really grow our community. The link is here in the show notes. Subscribe to the show, as it can now be heard on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher Radio, Spotify, or whatever your favorite platform to get your podcast on. If you are listening on Apple Podcasts and you find our content valuable, please give us a 5-star rating, as it will help us climb the charts and help more people find our show. Also, don't forget to sign up for the Startup Life All Access Pass to get exclusive content. This is exclusively on the Binge Podcast Network's Patreon page. And hey, if you have an idea, be about that life. The Startup Life.